Greetings and welcome to another CVMSDC Virtual Capabilities Briefing. Our special guests today are Elliot Haney and Lance Brown of Rhino Medical Supply. I'm your event producer, Taya Bolton with the PR Pros team. We have an informative session planned for you today. Before we get started, I'd like to cover a bit of housekeeping with you. All of our audience participant lines are muted. However, you can submit a question using the question box feature in the GoToWebinar dashboard that's typically on the right side of your screen. Also, today's session is being recorded and will be available for you to review and share with your colleagues post-event. You can view that recording from the CVMSDC website at cvmsdc.org/webinars. Now, I'm pleased to introduce our CVMSDC President and CEO, Dominique Milton, to open up today's session.
Thank you so much, Taya, and welcome to VCB, CVMSDC's virtual capability briefings. We have designed this series to allow our MBEs to be able to capture their presentation, their capability presentation for their customers, because we can't necessarily meet face-to-face. We wanted to be able to capture this, and this recording will live on their website as well as our website. If you are interested in participating in a VCB, please email us at info@cvmsdc.org. So without further ado, I'm so excited to introduce to you Elliot and Lance today of Rhino Medical Supply. Rhino Medical Supply, headquartered in Columbia, South Carolina, is a multinational integrated healthcare product distribution company, providing customized solutions for hospitals, health systems, ambulatory surgery centers, acute care, and physician offices worldwide. The company provides clinically proven medical products and cost-effective solutions that enhance supply chain efficiency from hospital to small business. Today, we have Elliot Haney, owner and chief operating officer for Rhino Medical Supply. Elliot is a native of Atlanta, Georgia, and a graduate with a bachelor's and a master's degree from the Darla Moore School of Business at the University of South Carolina. Prior to Rhino Medical Supply, Elliot has spent over 10 years in senior business partner roles, setting strategic direction for one of the largest manufacturing companies in the US and in Europe. So without further ado, I want to welcome Elliot to the presentation. Elliot, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for the introduction, Dominique. Appreciate it.
So we're going to go off screen and let you go ahead and make your presentation, and we'll all come back on visually at the end of your presentation for Q&A. Take it away, Elliot.
Thank you again, Dominique, for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone on the call. I want to thank you in advance for your participation on this call. I am so excited to introduce Rhino Medical Supply today. My goal for this presentation is for you to leave this meeting not just learning who we are and what we do, but more importantly, how we do it, because I think that's just so important. You want to go to the next slide? Current global stockpile of PPE is insufficient, says the World Health Organization. That was February 27, 2020. I want you to think back during the March time period, watching the news, hospital employees not having the personal protective resources needed to ensure their health and safety, or civilians looking for masks at retail stores just to protect themselves and their families. You could not find masks anywhere. People on television, YouTube, teaching us how to make masks with rubber bands and cloths. And more than anything, are underserved communities that were impacted disproportionately. For our co-founders, this was a call to actions to serve our communities and frontline heroes. With over 20 years in the medical industry and relationships that span across healthcare, manufacturing, and across our borders, in March, we leveraged those relationships to supply over 2 million disposable masks to one of the largest hospital systems in the Southeast region. That's where Rhino began. In the last 8 months, we've done some amazing things, which I will touch on through this presentation. This slide is a glance at our business. As Dominique stated, Rhino Medical Supply is a multinational integrated healthcare product distribution company, providing customized solutions for hospitals, healthcare systems, ambulatory surgery centers, acute care, and physician offices worldwide. Our company provides clinically proven medical products and cost-effective solutions that enhance supply chain efficiency from hospitals to small businesses. Our medical product offerings, I would categorize in these core areas: face protection, body covers, glove, disinfectants, medical devices, and a wide range of other medical supplies. Healthcare accounts for 75% of our customer base by revenue, 20% education and government, and 5% other, for example, manufacturing, retail, banking, and the list goes on. You can go to the next slide. Our core products. Here's a list of our products and revenue breakdown by our products. So, as I mentioned, our core product, face protection, body covers, glove, and disinfectants. And so I want to touch on some of these products. For our face protection, we're talking about things like N95 respirators, surgical masks, ASTM level 1 through 3, face shields. For our body covers, and I won't go through all of these, but two really important areas, our isolation gowns and our surgical gowns. For gloves, these would include, what you hear that's in short demand or short supply, our nitrile medical examination gloves and non-medical nitrile gloves, including vinyl and latex gloves. For our disinfectants, two key points here: our hand sanitizer, our disinfectant wipes, and our disinfectant chemicals. What makes Rhino competitive is that we are a true distributor. We deal directly with manufacturers of our products. We're an authorized distributor for Demitec and Halyard Health, which is one of the largest PPE manufacturers in the world. We also work directly with some of the largest gowns, goggles, and medical suppliers, manufacturers in Asia. This not only allows us to have reliable product flow in a world where supply is diminished, but allows us to compete on pricing compared to our competitors like Cardinal Health, Medline, etc. You can go to the next slide. Here you will find our operational model. This slide demonstrates our manufacturing and logistics capability. We have expert capabilities to export and import goods throughout our global logistics partners. This allows our customers to rest easy, especially when we are dealing with international shipping. For importing goods, we have the capability to import through air or ocean freight. When it hits our ports, you don't have to worry about custom issues. We handle everything with full compliance. Once on the ground, we have two options. We have the ability to consolidate the inventory at our 12,000 square foot warehouse located in Columbia, South Carolina, or ship direct to the customer. It's important to note the demand for healthcare PPE for most hospitals and healthcare systems have 3x to 6x. As a result, most customers lack the infrastructure to inventory the excess supplies. Our warehousing solution allows us to solve that problem. Our international and domestic manufacturing relationship enables just-in-time model for customers and helps solve other issues our customers are experiencing due to the COVID pandemic. You can go ahead and proceed to the next slide. This slide gives you an idea of our customer flavor: healthcare, banking, education. We have a well-balanced geographic footprint in the US, serving customers in over 30 states. Okay, you can go to the next slide. I've covered most of our capabilities, but I want to highlight 3 on this slide. The first one I want to highlight is our ability to scale orders. While we fulfill orders of 100,000 to millions of pieces, because we have direct manufacturing relationships, we have the ability to scale to the need of the customer. Just the other day, we had a high school office staff reach out to us in a panic because they only needed 60 N95 respirators and could not find any suppliers that would fulfill an order that small. One of the things we often say at Rhino, the size of your budget shouldn't determine the protection we all deserve. We pride ourselves on being able to meet whatever the need is. And needless to say, we were able to fill that order for that customer. The second capability I want to touch on is our product and plant validation. We have been intentional on who we source our products through. All of our manufacturers go through a rigorous evaluations to ensure the quality of the products sourced. We also have a clinical subject matter expert on staff to help evaluate all new products to ensure full compliance. And the last thing I want to touch on is our diverse experience leadership team, and you can go on to the next slide. Our leadership group education includes graduates from MBA programs like Duke University, Fuqua School of Business, University of Chicago Booth School of Business, and the University of South Carolina Moore School of Business. Our experience includes well over 20 years in medical supply industry, finance background with firms like Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, and manufacturing experience with some of the largest manufacturers in the US. A combination of experience and education has enabled Rhino to move at a pace that has enabled us to compete with the market leaders and to give us a foundation to be here for the long term. You can go to the next slide. So what we always say at Rhino is get Rhino protected. All right. And that concludes the presentation part of my presentation.
Excellent. Can you see me, Elliot?
Yes, I can.
All right, I can't see you, so if you can come back and if Lance can join us, that was great presentation. So I think I might have mentioned to you, when we all went to this shutdown, we all had cloth masks and the masks that you can buy over the drugstore counter. And I got my first N95 mask when I was walking into a hospital one day. I was so excited, right? And about 30 minutes later, that mask popped. I was shocked because I thought, there'd be a standard for quality. I thought I had the best mask I could possibly have. Talk to me about how you ensure quality of your products so that people don't end up with those type of faulty devices.
Hey guys, I'm Lance. Elliot, great job. And great question too. And I think that's a pain point that a lot of our customers, hospitals in general have experienced. And one of the first things that we do when we vet out a partner, strategic partner, is either we go on site, do an on-site visit, and we definitely ask for samples.
Okay.
SDS report so that we know that it meets certain standards like a Nelson Lab report, but also we have it physically in hand to inspect ourselves. So we're not getting the frontline heroes who really are relying on this protection, something that's counterfeit or faulty.
Excellent, excellent, very good. So another thing that's important, gentlemen, is that our corporate partners are wanting you to have complete control of your supply chain. Talk to me about that.
Yes. And that was probably the biggest frustration for a few reasons, right? So when majority of everything when this pandemic first hit was coming from China. So there was a couple issues with that. You got trade wars, you got lead times, you got counterfeit. It's just all over the place. And what we spent a lot of time around the clock is developing our domestic supply chain with U.S. manufacturers for the NIOSH approved N95 mask, so that we don't have to worry, our customers don't have to worry about lead times, they don't have to worry about counterfeit, and then we can control the supply chain. So it's not like a broker to broker to broker type deal. We're dealing directly with the manufacturer.
Excellent, excellent. I like how you said it doesn't matter the size of the order. You can go small to large. And you can go from you can cover any state and internationally with your support, correct?
Yeah, and the one thing that I would also piggyback on what Lance talked about is that one of the things we always said was when we're looking at new partners, what were they doing prior to COVID? That's really important to us. So the manufacturers that we have been working with have been in the manufacturing business for over 30 years in medical supplies and PPE, the exact products that we're looking to procure and source through our supply chain for our customers now.
That's so important because when the floodgates opened and everybody was trying to pivot, so many people got into the PPE equipment business, right? And some more credible than others. what would you say is the main thing, if you could just pick one or two things that just completely set you apart from everybody else that's playing in this space right now?
Real quick, I think it's two things, right? So I think it's our approach, right? So we take a relationship approach versus a transactional approach. So earning long-term customers and relationships is really important to us. And then also we're dealing directly with the manufacturer. So it gives us a competitive edge from a pricing standpoint. And we're very transparent too. So a lot of what we do is a cost plus model. So if there's there's a lot of fluidity in the market. So if the cost for something is X, we'll show you what the cost is. And that way, you know where our margins are. And it helps us be more transparent, and it guards against price gouging or the perception of price gouging.
Excellent. Well, transparency is key. Yes, Elliot?
Yeah, and the other thing that I would say is because we have direct manufacturing relationships, is that we're able to pivot when needed. So if a customer says, hey, I need this product, just to give you an example, we had a customer say, hey, Medline, which is one of our competitors, has us on allocation, and they do not know when they're going to be able to give us this type of supply. In this case, it was a coverall, a specific type of coverall. And they asked us, can you guys source this through your current manufacturer? And we went to our manufacturer, and our manufacturer didn't necessarily have that particular product per se, but they were able to get the specs and then manufacture something to those specs. And then again, when you're dealing with a competitor, they only offer what they offer.
Excellent. Very good. Taya, do we have any questions from the audience?
Indeed, we do. So first question is, other than providing products, what solutions have you provided to your hospital systems?
So great question. The solutions for our hospitals are the N95 mask, the ASTM level 3 surgical mask in both a head tie and an ear loop, and then gowns. So level 1 through level 4 gowns is those are the two biggest items that we provide to our hospital systems and healthcare systems in general.
Yep, and to piggyback on Lance, one unique thing that I can think of off the top of my head is obviously those are our core products that we provide. And I mentioned in our presentation that we have a warehousing solution. So when you think about the infrastructure that currently exists with a lot of our customers, they don't have the infrastructure to be able to inventory those excess supplies. So in some cases, we have hospital systems that say, hey, can we order 3 months of this particular product, and can we hold it at your warehouse? And then they essentially would then say, hey, we need 10 cases of X supply, and then we would be able to fulfill it out of their already purchased supply.
Just in time is key. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. Taya, any more from the field?
Absolutely. There's another question, and it is the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases experts are now predicting the pandemic to last until the end of 2022. Where does Rhino go from here?
That's a great question. And I think that's kind of like where we've been positioning our model and our business strategies for long term and to build relationships. And we sound like we're beating a dead horse, but again, it goes to those direct relationships with Halyard and Demitech, because even when it normalizes whatever the new normal looks like, those customers will still need to buy those particular products. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to get as much traction and grow our footprint as much as possible, being fair on pricing, so that we are their go-to distributor. And we understand that because of COVID, we've been given an opportunity, a tremendous opportunity to earn relationships that we probably normally wouldn't otherwise have. And it's up to us to be able to capitalize on that in a good way, as far as doing the right thing and delivering. So long term, I think is continuing to develop our domestic supply chain and getting as many people, Halyards and Demitechs as possible, and then they know they can count on us to come back and get them.
Excellent.
That's perfect. And then one last question for you is about underserved communities. I can certainly see how valuable what you do is across many communities, but this specific community, what have you been able to accomplish in this area?
That was one of our biggest things when we set out. So We've donated over 60,000 kids masks to underserved communities, schools, and all over the country, really. But we had a focus on the state of South Carolina since that's home. And then now we're donating 20,000 adult 3-plot masks. So, and that's something that we want to make sure that's consistent, and that's a core and really a big piece of who we are and what we do. So that'll give us over 80,000 masks that we've donated in the last 3 months.
That is outstanding. You need to write that up for me so we can get you some press coverage, at least internally with our constituents. So that's outstanding. Thank you for that. Anything else, Taya, from the field?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, so gentlemen, do you customize? Do you have the ability to customize masks? I know they're all the surgical paper. I've never seen one of those customized. Can you do that?
Go ahead, Elliot. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I would say for the most part, you have certain compliant rules in the field that we play in. So you have ASTM level 1, level 2, level 3 surgical masks. So that's the area that we particularly play in, and it has to meet their certain standards. So the problem with some masks that has the different customized logos and whatnot, they don't meet the ASTM level standard, and the ASTM level standard is the filtration. So what is the filtration? Does it filtrate 95%? Does it 97%, 98%? And so, you know, you're not always getting the best protection when you're dealing with certain products,
Gotcha.
like cloth masks.
I want to piggyback off that too. So like the NIOSH standards, there's not much you can do with that. And it takes to get that approval. However, I can give you a real life example for the Demitech ASTM level 3 head ties. One of our hospital systems, they're used to the Kimberly-Clark head ties, and they loved the Demitech. They wanted it a little bit wider, and they wanted the strings a little bit longer. That was a customization that we were able to go through Demitech, and they were able to make happen. So
outstanding.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So just a question. This is somebody told me that if I have on a cloth mask and I can blow out a candle with that mask on, it is not being effective at all. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's
Is that the litmus test that people should use?
Yeah.
Litmus test, you could pour a little bit of water in it and see if it leaks. So that for sure, that's the first one we do is when we get to your point, when we get samples in, that's the first thing we do is we see if we could blow out an electric lighter.
Okay,
So,
good. And then the water. Excellent. Well, I'm sure our audience can utilize that tip. So thank you so much for that, gentlemen. Thank you for
about making sure that when you stretch it a little bit that the bands aren't going to pop either. So that's another, if it could last the stress test, so to speak. So
okay, well, to build on that, how many times should you use a mask? Is it when you get an N95 mask, should you just use it one time and dispose of it, or give me your thoughts there?
On the box, it'll tell you that it's a disposable mask. On the N95s, typically you can get, if it depends on your environment. Like I will use the mask for weeks, but if I'm a frontline worker and I'm going into a positive COVID case, then it's probably a one-time use, right? So it just all depends on your environment.
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, so as we close out, gentlemen, my favorite question is, our customers should call Rhino when? Fill in the blanks.
I'm going to say for any PPE needs that you may have, large or small, we get excited for helping someone procure 20 masks as we do 1 million masks. So we're here to help, and we understand that some folks don't need 500,000; they only need 500, and we want to be able to help those users as well.
Excellent, thank you. Elliot, you want to answer the question?
Yeah, I just, if you're looking for a reliable product at a cost-effective price, and whatever the need is, doesn't matter if it's small or large, we have the relationships in the supply chain to fulfill whatever order is needed. So I think that's when you would call Rhino.
All right, excellent job, gentlemen. Thank you so much for attending the VCB. And again, for our listeners, if you are interested in having your own VCB session, please email us at info@cvmsdc.org. We are so excited to make sure that you all know about our upcoming final event for the year, which is Reemerge. Reemerge is a combination of our Business Opportunity Conference and our MBE Summit. It will be held December 2nd and 3rd. If you are a certified MBE anywhere in the United States, you can join us and participate in our construction matchmaking. We're also going to have our general matchmaking. We have over 11 workshops to choose from. The program is designed to get you ready to reemerge in 2021. There's a workshop for everybody. So I hope that our listeners will join us at Reemerge 2020. You can go visit our calendar at CVMSDC.org, and you can click on the link for Reemerge, and we look forward to seeing each of you there. Thank you, gentlemen. It is a wrap.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dominique.
You're welcome. Have a great day.